All right, start whenever you want.
Yeah. Okay. Then welcome to the next session of Lancer. Arcloid, do you would
Yes.
like to do a short recap what you did last session and found out?
I'm having a hard time remembering what went on. I was kind of relying on this session's recap to tell me what I need to remember.
Last time we spent some time in Evergreen, waiting on shuttles to come in with new parts for a bigger and better printer for Cobra's mech. Cobra decided to go out into the forest and successfully found a cave location that these, I'm not sure what to call them right now. I guess, our opposition right now has been using. There was a field hospital inside, and so we arranged a mission to go and capture anyone at the hospital. At which point we've agreed to give them medical aid and transfer them to Evergreen and our custody, while Zero decided to go along with them and hear them out.
Oh, yes, now I remember. Thank you.
Other things that happened, of course, were Zero being a bad guardian and, of course, Lester going off and doing whatever she does.
Yeah. Thank you. So, also, Zero stepped into a hive home, the hive of the Hercynians, like they called themselves after the planet of Hercynia you are all on. You
Not the
remember?
mercenary company.
What? No, your opposition. They call themselves Hercynians.
No, historically, the Hessians. The Hessians were a group of mercenaries. I'm making a joke. An historical joke.
Okay. Sorry. I didn't get that one. But yeah. You step into a hive home and the Hercynian Rangers escort you to your water, so to say. You're not exactly a prisoner, but an honored guest, but they expect you wherever you go to take some of them with you. While you are taking you to your quarter, you see a squad of rangers. Yeah. yeah. Sorry, got out of focus. You see a squad of Hessian rangers that seems like they go on an assignment, and you're in the meantime a little bit used to the site. They have the complete armor on and everything, but when you look closer, you realize that they are carrying their helmets under their arms, but one of them still looks totally like a bug. And when you look closer, you realize, oh, he really is a bug, a human-sized bug, walking with the other rangers, and they treat it like every day's business.
So some of the aliens are real.
Yes, it seems that way. Or it totally is that way.
That's okay. I'm gonna take the head off their costume and reveal them to be the banker that's been hounding us all along for the land.
Old Man Smithy. Should have known.
Mr. Jenkins!
So, yeah. Joking aside, you are still escorted to your quarter. And so,
Alright, so they put me into accommodations rather than a cell, so that's
yeah,
nice.
yes. It's
And this is a vast underground place. What are their kind of like accommodations like?
they have I said it's like a big cave, and they have several levels. which some seem dug into the wall and some seem to be built artificially. So they also have like elevators and stuff to move around the different levels. Inside the accommodation, it's very Spartan, but you have just the basic needs. But you assume it's like that for most people here.
Right, and if they have any sense, they've probably also posted a guard around so I don't just like walk away and do something.
Yeah. There are two officers standing outside. Wait, you are sorry, the Tile Otto. Remember the one you talked with? Excuses
Yes.
herself and says she will talk to her father, and in some time you will be taken to her father. But you are free to explore parts of the city in the meantime. If
Okay.
you
I think I'll definitely take you up on that offer.
no, I have stuff to do. She points at the two officers. They will accompany you.
Of course. But yeah, I think I'll go and enjoy some of the local color around town. See how these people live and things such as that.
Yeah. When you walk around, you see more egregorians. The humans outnumber the egregorians by a lot. You guess for every 30 humans, there may be one egregorian or less. But they are treated like a totally normal sight around here. Nobody makes a fuss about them. And
How do they interact? Do they have their own way of communicating, or are they perfectly capable of speaking English? Do they use hand signs?
when you watched it closer, you see that most egregorians speak common, but sometimes an egregorian just stands in front of a human, they look at each other, and they seem to understand each other, but you don't hear any words or sounds spoken.
Very
But
interesting.
mostly they speak common.
So this is still a very large settlement. It does have a printer, I would assume.
Do you ask?
Yeah, I sort of ask as a general question to the people escorting me around.
No. Let me write it up for you. Officer Harak says, no, we don't have a printer.
I suppose if nobody's noticed any sort of OmniNet traffic, then that would sort of check out.
Yeah. You have a OmniNet link with you, right?
Yes, I think that's basically the radio, so I could technically communicate elsewhere if I wanted to.
Yeah. When you check that you're so far underground, you don't get any outside signals.
Right. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Yeah, and when you walk around, you realize that your immediate assessment that this is at least a city of 100,000 people was a little bit low. The city is much bigger than you realized at first. You think it will probably range in the low millions.
hmm
So yeah, it's really huge.
Let's see. So let's just cover a couple background details. The first, of course, is Mirror Smoke's assignment. Our assignment here is basically what at the moment still?
uh, to guarantee evergreens or the colonization efforts longevity.
All right, so basically keep it intact.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, the other thing I was thinking of. I forgot that question. Oops. Dropped from my head. I'm still interested in sort of these Gregorians, so I might like approach one and try to ask a few questions, like uh how long have their people had civilization on this planet? Not like the question of like how long have they lived here, but like how long have they had cities and such like that.
The Gregorian looks a little bit confused in the cities. We had hives since forever.
Hmm. Uh, and how does it communicate that to me?
Yeah, it speaks.
Okay,
In
so they do actually speak. Yay, I've learned
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, like I said, they often speak common, but sometimes it seems to have a way of communicating without words.
How do they distinguish? Or I'll ask this like in first person then. How do you guys distinguish your own history? Like, what kind of eras do you see uh, in your past? Was there ever a pre-hive civilization? Was there a point where uh, things changed substantially for how you organized your hives or how you thought about yourselves as a society?
The war against your people changed our hives and our society.
That would make a lot of sense. Did you have a lot of technology at all prior to human arrival?
No?
I'll just sort of like look around vaguely and go, it seems like you've adapted reasonably well to it.
Yes? He looks at you a little bit like you ask obvious questions, so what are you asking me?
Well, I've never seen an alien before.
Oh, you haven't?
Of course. I don't think very many people at all have. I think most don't even realize you exist. So it's
And
interesting to sort of see how similar we might actually be. I'm very pleased, honestly.
thank you. He looks a little bit behind you and sees the two officers trailing you, and then realizes, oh, you must be from off-planet then.
I'll give a nod. That's correct. My name's Zero. I'll even hold out a hand for him to shake and see if he reciprocates that gesture.
He shakes your hand and says, my name is Love.
It's nice to meet you.
Thank you.
I suppose I should go ahead and abstract what I'm doing.
No,
Zero
you,
is not going to do anything weird or dangerous while he's here. He's taking in local color and information. That's about it.
so yeah,
I
when
think he
you
might. Oh, that actually reminds me what my actual question was, which was, what are the conditions for Evergreen remaining a colony in the case of other people having already lived there?
from a legal standpoint, it gets very fuzzy, and probably they will have a court settling, but
Hmm.
you don't. You guess the chances aren't too good because
Right.
these people just aren't prior settlers, but also the descendants from the first settlers.
Hmm. And I would presume any colony contract those settlers had is basically completely null and void at this point.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically the only chance they would have, because those old people weren't colonists, but mostly military tasked with
Right.
destroying the Gregorians.
Zero is mostly navigating like the political thoughts of this right now.
Yeah.
And I suppose what he probably gets from around town is absolutely nobody would bother with thinking of themselves as a former colony at all, I would suppose.
Yeah, when you ask about Hercynian histories, so
Hmm.
the human part, they had centuries of war and forming their own states, and Haiphom being one of the big local states, or city-states, so to speak. And some years back, machines started to attack, and now they formed alliances, and you are in the Hercynian United Cities, and Haiphom is the biggest city of that union. Yeah,
I see.
and yeah, they didn't expect the union to really come back.
Right. When the Union came, they basically started a war, burned kind of the planet, and then left it alone.
Yeah.
But, so what would be the chances of, at this point, with that war being long over, these people basically being buried in with a high population, that they'd basically be considered the natives of the planet at this point, and basically have a better claim than this colony?
Yeah, there are chances for that.
Hmm. So something interesting. Wonder, I do have a shuttle. Well, I'll think about that later. Zero will, is waiting patiently to get to talk to, the king around here, I think was what it was, right?
uh, he
Or
was not the king, he was the commander.
commander, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that's what Zero is doing for the time being.
Let me just quick check if anything else that I see is super important you would find out about the city. So yeah, they have a marketplace you could visit. They have the lower ports which lead off into the tunnels. The officers don't like you to go there because yeah, that's the contact to the other cities.
Hmm.
And
You know what? I got like a lot of extra rations, and maybe I could use that to just kind of go to the market and just exchange a whole bunch of goods. So basically, this would be changing gear from extra ration to, quote, alien goods.
Alright. It's okay. Anything specific in mind?
I don't know, it depends on what they have. What do the Gregorians build and then sell to the market of Icenians here? What
Alright.
kind of things are interesting and strange that I haven't seen and that the Union has never seen before?
Yeah. They I mean, in the market you see mostly the usual stuff like clothing and food and tools, but you also see some small local artists which make sculptures from chitin, so the stuff the insect armor is made of, but it really seems perfectly formed to the sculpture, and you wonder how they make it so that chitin can take any form.
Well, that seems very interesting. So I might like interrogate a little bit about that process and the tools used and see if maybe I could trade for some of those somewhere.
Uh,
And barring that, maybe just get a bust of myself for giggles.
The artisan looks at you also like you ask stupid questions at first until he realizes you're not from around here. He says, "Yeah, you need the cast of shell from an egregorian, from a growing egregorian, and then you have to take some liquid you don't ever heard of and to make it soft over several hours, and then you can form it. But you have to take care to not make it too soft, but not too stiff." And then he runs off for half an hour to really impart you with all his knowledge how to do it. And he also draws you to some nice little details he did on the statue, which require a lot of skill to really get it right. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
So Zero kind of remains a little fascinated for that, and I think maybe he'll actually commission some work. Maybe he'll get that bust and maybe a chitin chess set. I think that'll probably do for now, right?
That idea is great. Yeah. Yeah, I can totally do that.
Alright. So I'll go ahead and use my extra rations to make sure I have enough to pay for all this, unless you want to make have me make some sort of market check or something like that.
No, if I mean, you basically give him food for a week, if I remember that right. So
Yeah, it's
that's
a
okay.
lot of it apparently.
Yeah, I mean, he accepts that. So.
Just wait until like he pulls this out and like just shows it a lesser. It's like, hey, look, I have like a king piece for my chess set that has my face on it, and it's made by aliens. What did you do with your day?
I think you're forgetting something very important, Griff.
Oh, I'm remembering something very important.
Yeah.
Zero literally thinking out loud, like, wait until Lesser sees this. She'll go crazy.
At some point, I ought to learn how to play chess.
Yeah. Yeah, you will have to wait for several days. So anything else any of you wants to do in the meantime? Else I would.
Oh, of course, because you
Oh,
remember,
wow.
I'm fucking there. I've got stuff to do inside those 7 days while I am there.
Sorry, several days, not 7. Several.
I did say several days.
Okay, then I misheard. Yeah, okay. Then go ahead. What do you want to do?
I want to look for a data center. Because I'm on a job. I don't know what the fuck Zero is doing.
Zero's trying not to burn a bridge he carefully has tried to cross.
My job's not that. I have a operational condition handed down to me by our mercenary corporation, and I have not been given any orders to the contrary, so I am on a job. I'm looking for a data center.
Okay, yeah. I mean, you realize that most of the people are really what you would consider low-tech by modern standards. They don't have many computers around here. So
They've got some. They're operating mechs.
yeah, but in contrast to even a backwater settlement like Patience, where Evergreen, where everyone got a copy of Patience in his pocket. So yeah, they got some. It's right. You really don't seem any building that screams data center to you. You guess that in the military command center there will be computers, but then of course there are a lot of soldiers there.
Right.
which are probably also using those computers.
Sure. So when I try to sneak in there, what happens to me?
Give me a sneak check. You get an advantage of being invisible, but you could still make sound.
Sorry, just taking me a minute to figure out what page I'm on. There we go.
Yeah, you manage to sneak into the command center. There are indeed computers, and it looks like a typical command center to you, maybe a little bit outdated. But the problem is all those computers are manned, so somebody sits in front of them.
Are they against the wall, or are they like NORAD or NASA style, where they're like rows of computers all in front of one another?
Oh, no, it's more like against the wall, all outside.
No,
So in all
because you know when
doors.
you see like Apollo 13, right? You see the
Yeah.
inside of the NASA Space Center kind of thing. You've got rows of computers with all of these people doing different jobs, all facing one another, so they could walk down rows of aisles. Same thing for NORAD. If you see inside of a Cheyenne Mountain.
No, I haven't seen Norwich, but yeah.
Well, I mean, like
I
you
have
saw
seen
like the
NASA.
movie War Games, for example.
No, I haven't. But let's get back to the game. I get a picture.
All right. Well, I will wait for a shift change.
Okay.
No,
Shift
they
change.
stay in their seats for 7 days. Several days.
Yeah. In the middle of the room is this big commander's tables, and you can see a map which depicts the underground, or rather several maps, because yeah, underground tunnels are three-dimensional, so it's not as easy to make a single map of it as it is of the surface. And you sometimes see commanders, plural, from several forces, and one of them is indeed Ordo. So you can draw the conclusion that it's the dad of the Tal Ordo, and they discuss something called a Gregorian cross, and there haven't been attacks on that for a while, but it seems to be important because they talk a lot about how to defend it, how many forces to put there. But after some hours, shift change happens. They seem to be manned day and night, but during night times, whatever they call night times, you are not sure if it's the same night as above. There isn't every PC manned, but only about half.
Generally, I'm just looking for a computer terminal in the moments between it being manned and unmanned that has some sort of connection that I could inject into.
Yeah.
As a reminder of that.
Yeah.
Since they're part of me and part of my suit, they would also be invisible, which means that if they're not using a port on the computer, that'll just plug into it. And then if it looks like they're about to plug something into it, I can just plug myself out of it real quick.
Yeah, I guess it would be easiest for you to take one of the unmanned computers in the night.
Alright.
Yeah. Okay, then what do you want to achieve?
First, I want to download as much strategic information as entirely possible.
Okay, then I never thought about how much data capacity do you carry around.
I
with
carry
yourself?
around a fully functional AI god. So, I think my data capacity is probably pretty good, even if I have to convert everything into a text file to turn it back later.
Yeah,
Alright, what are these files converted into? Okay, I'll convert them into this, which will save their code, which then I can remember their file formats later, and then reconvert that back. I'm saying this to two people that work on computers, so I don't know how much bullshit I'm spewing.
Now it's a .tiff file. We can't change it into anything.
But again, want to point out that this is thousands of years in the
it's fine.
future.
Okay, then go ahead and give me a check. Yeah, you basically managed to find a networked file system, and because you don't know what it is, you basically start downloading everything.
It's that
And-
scene from any 80s hacking movie, right? Where they just, the download bar just goes across, right? Because we don't know what we need, so we're just gonna get everything we can. Like, I'm sure there's like a scene in this little scenario we've painted where like a guy is walking across, got a cup of coffee, he's walking around looking at stuff, and the screen has the download bar on it, and it's like, because I can't stealth the screen, so this download bar is going across, and he's walking along, he's getting closer, I'm like, shit, hurry up.
I mean,
He stops at a cubicle, says, Steve, I'm gonna need you to come in on Tuesday. Oh, I'm sorry, Sunday. Did you get those TPS reports finished?
I assume too much because I know computers. You can download stuff in the background.
I know, I'm making an Office Space joke.
Okay, then. What's again one I didn't get? Yeah. So yeah, that will basically to get everything they have. That will take you hours, and you notice some data has additional encryption on it, so it might take.
I will spend additional time, yes. In the meantime, I'm also going to have Uvenil make a copy of itself.
From where? No, to where?
Well, I mean, initially it's going to be making a copy of itself just on my own network to then place itself, when I find the time, onto their network.
Oh, okay.
Specifically in the background of Uvenil, this is something it used to do all the time.
Yes.
I went to double check before I... Hold on. Page 582.
Yeah, it's
It's a brief mention about where it used to send copies of itself along with its warrior priests to their home cities and whatnot. Specifically, it's also in my own background why I have a copy of Uvenil.
yeah, but I just mentioned the scene you carrying 2 copies of your Neville and them arguing with each other, which is the more rightfully copy.
Yeah, but one of them is going into this thing. Also, one of them is obviously going to be the lesser copy, so it's going to be self-evident.
Yeah, but
Because remember, my version of Uvenil is an old copy of Uvenil that I raised back up to full status. This new copy is going to be a lesser copy, so that it can then, not take up as much space, perform the operations that I need, etc. It's going to be what, was it Prudence? Is that the one on this planet?
Patience.
Patience is going to be what the main patience is to all those handheld patiences.
okay, yeah, but the handheld patients are not really NHPs; they are just sophisticated computers.
Well, technically they are NHPs.
No, the handheld ones
Are they
not
human?
NHPs.
Are they human? If they're
No.
not human, they're NHPs. They're
No,
just
they are
very reduced
They are not
NHPs.
NHPs because they're not personalities.
I think
They
you'll
have
find
their
that we
copy.
humans make anything into a personality.
Yeah, you assign it to a personality, but
We
those that have,
anthropomorphize things.
yeah. But then a car is an NHP if you want to see it that way.
True enough.
But
I'll agree with that so long as you've already agreed with that.
okay, then we know what Lesser does in the coming days.
Oh, is this going to take days?
Yes. I mean,
It's a real slow download.
yeah, you basically want to download everything, decrypt everything, and make a copy of a god.
Right, so I'm thinking, what, 5 minutes?
No.
I am really good.
Yeah, but decryption of everything.
Well, I don't need to
takes a lot of
decrypt
time.
it here. I can decrypt it later.
Yeah, but
The idea is I'm
it-
downloading it here to take away and deal with later.
Okay. Yeah, okay, then sorry, I got an idea that you download it, leave the room, and spend your next day decrypting everything. I didn't want to imply you spent.
Oh no,
days
again,
in
I'm
this
not
room.
decrypting it here at this city at all.
Okay,
This is information to take back with me whenever we leave.
okay, then. Okay, then we know what Lesser does for the night.
Oh, you think we go back over to 00? You hear alarms going off all over the place.
I could just imagine like the whole scene of just like Zero on the Omni Hook going, Lesser, you should just surrender already. And then giving you leadership die because you're not going to listen to him.
You remember he only gets to use the leadership die if he roughly follows your leadership.
So I do like the
I bet
idea of
the
you.
implication of the leadership is that I'm trying to manipulate him.
I say I like the idea of you giving me leadership dies, knowing that I'm not going to listen to you. Do what I say, or don't. I don't care.
Yeah. Do whatever the fuck you want. In the meantime, Cobra arrives at Evergreen with the wounded Hysanians. Cobra,
Yes.
your action. What do you want to do?
I guess he'll be overseeing the efforts to get the Hycernians. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
To get them settled into the mirror smoke hospitals, and then because his CO is currently in enemy hands, he'll submit himself for either training or some other task that the higher ups want him to do. So either get focused or something different.
Yeah. Okay. Then I presume you make contact with Edna G
Yes.
and to hand over the wounded soldiers. They will be heavily guarded by the militia, so this whole yeah, it feels more like prisoner for them. But on the other hand, most of them couldn't move anyway. Patient happier about having hostages. Don't know if you want to say anything about that. But
You are technically the only team member there. You're the only voice of the party for what's going to happen out there.
Technically, Osiris is also out there.
Osiris.
Osiris is my mech. Oh, no, Osiris is the NHP that's controlling my mech right now.
Oh,
You remember Osiris was driving the mech back?
yes.
Or, I mean, sorry, driving the truck through the window.
I suppose it'd be worth noting that my mech also has an NHP controlling it, but it's not as weird as any of Lester's stuff and is basically under Cobra's command.
Wow.
So it's just gonna do whatever you tell it.
After everything I've done, what you just said sounded like the most villainy thing.
I'm trying to remember what we set up to do with these quote unquote hostages. And I'm drawing a blank here. Did we want to well, of course we're treating them, fairly and giving them the attention they need to heal. But the way what you said kind of sounded like there's something I should be saying about this, and I'm once again drawing a little bit of a blank.
Yeah, my Zero more or less negotiated an
Oh yes,
exchange of diplomatic channel and help, so they weren't really intended. And Zero also promised to them that it's about medical help and that they would be free to leave. And yeah, hostages aren't exactly free to leave.
Okay, yeah, and he will mention that to the officers. Yeah, this is our CO said that these people be free to go once they are capable of leaving. This is more of an act of goodwill than hostage taking. Thank you for reminding me. It's been a week and my memory is shit as it is.
Yeah, it's yeah. Edna G raises her eyebrow and says, "I will check your authority on that."
Check my what on that?
Authority? How
Oh,
to pronounce
authority.
it? Yeah, sorry. My
Well, if you want to question what I've been told by my CO, you can wait until
no.
Zero gets.
I believe what you say. But I'm not sure Zero has the authority to do what he did.
Very well. I will defer to your judgment in this matter.
That's good. Then in the meantime, they will be treated as hostages for leverage.
Well, now Vincent's kind of worried that Zero's going to be pissed at him for this, but can't really help that.
Yeah. I mean, with the higher ups right now, you are on your own. Technically, energy and patients represent your customer side, but I mean, they are not in your military hierarchy. So if you want any orders, you would have to get contact to Zero. And if you try the OmniNet, no contact to Zero.
Well, in that case, I guess I'll, if this counts as downtime, then I'll use Get Focus. Would Get Focus let you get one of the non-combat oriented triggers, or is this something that doesn't come from the book, like playing chess or dancing, as the two examples in the book state?
I mean, it's yeah, it's not really spelled out, but the way I read it, you could get one of the non-combat triggers and not just some esoteric, or I mean, you get a trigger, and I guess you could also get one of the core triggers, and not just an obscure trigger like dancing or chess, if you really
Okay.
wanted to.
Well, in that case, I will add stay cool for some. I don't know what you call that kind of training, where you get over the shell shock, as it were, and be able to function in high stress situations.
I mean, there are several ways to train that. How do you go about it?
I guess running himself through some combat situation simulations on on the computer or through his mech software, if that's possible. If the mech can run simulations that while you're in it, that makes it look and feel like you're shooting your guns and there's enemies around, but it's just you and your mech and the mech standing still. So basically taking a Kobe Murashu, I don't know exactly how you say that.
Kobayashi Maru.
Kobayashi Maru.
Kobayashi Maru.
Real
yes.
nerds here.
Yeah.
I knew one of you would know it, and I'm glad the two of you did. The Kobe Mirage. I already fucked it up again.
It's the
Yeah.
no-win scenario, just like saying the name.
Yeah, so running himself through really stressful combat simulations so that he gets used to the hardships of that. And possibly some rigorous survival training in some really Badlands or Death Valley type areas of the planet. Something of that nature.
Yeah, I guess your Mac isn't really cut out for simulations of that kind, but you can access the governor's building, so where the house where patients is in, and do some virtual reality stuff in there to get your training in.
All right, and I want to try to record this properly in, say, ComCom. How would I do that? Because usually it only tells you get so many triggers per level, but doesn't say how you keep track of extra ones you get from Get Focused.
Please, we do this after the game. I don't know. I don't use ComCom as a player.
Okay, well, I have a text file of session notes. I can put it in then and keep track of it that way.
Yeah, that sounds good. Okay, we started downtime actions. Zero, any downtime actions you want to do in Haifu?
You know what? I'm gonna try to make them like me. That's going to be my current priority while I'm there. Perhaps lead or inspire or get a hold of people? I'm not sure what would be appropriate.
I mean, it depends on the way how you how you want him to like you. I mean, do you go about and hold uplifting speeches? Do you try to have nice chatters or over tea with them?
Yeah, I want to have some uplifting speeches. My heart burns with the losses of the various farmers that have been killed, but I think we can bring an end to this aggression. I think that we can find a common ground and end the situation. I'll go ahead and roll lead and inspire.
Okay.
Nothing else, that should have them kind of on my side for whatever plan I develop in the future.
I mean, you the two officers trailing you look at you funnily once you start doing that, but yeah, you're not obviously causing trouble, so they let you do it. And some
Right,
of
I'm not going like, now take up your arms and take down the aristocracy quickly.
and I mean, yeah, I guess you're doing this in stuff like taverns and so, and some people like your speeches. They would like peace. They don't get this your whole part about this villagers and so on really well. But yeah, but I mean, they don't understand the reference, what you mean by that. But yeah, peace sounds good, and you made really impressive speech.
Hooray.
Lesser, is it okay if we say all your hacking is retroactively your downtime action, you get some reserve for that?
I get some what for that?
Reserve.
Oh, you want to make it okay? Because I had other ideas for downtime.
Okay, what's your other ideas?
Well, I was torn between two different things. Because I would rather have my my downloads and all that stuff be the active action that I took, since I actually rolled for that already. But my downtime stuff. So it's either I want to insert Yvenel into all their operations, which is what I've currently been doing, as a kind of like a Skynet operation, where it's slowly going to be taking over their computer systems in the background, but not actively taking any actions, as to not appear to be doing so. That's one option that I was thinking of. The other option is that I want to be able to create some sort of communications bypass, because clearly these people have to communicate with their people in the field, and I want to be able to create some sort of bypass that'll stealthily reconnect this network to the base. Was it Everlook? Or is that the last place?
Evergreen.
Is it Evergreen? Is that this planet?
Yes. Look at the map.
Evergreen is the colony.
Sorry, I have 15 windows open right now. Don't.
Yeah.
No, I understand. But I guess just to my notes on it is, you're underground. That's the primary complication.
That's not a complication. They have to have some sort of wired network to communicate with their people that are out in the field. So I'm assuming that there must be some sort of, like even NORAD, which is underground, has a network to communicate outside of itself that it can shut down, turn off, whatever. But the idea being that there must be some sort of wired connection to the surface that then has to have some sort of network connection.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't have to be, but I'm saying that they have people that work out in the field, so they've got to communicate with them somehow. They don't just walk back in. Yeah. So I'm gonna go with the first one. This is all. Ignore the last half of what I just said. I'm gonna go with the first one, inserting the copy of Yvenel into their the computer network, so that it can then slowly take over their operations, or get a foothold to Skynet their operations, as I've said, shorthand it, so that it will, in the background, not be detected to be taking control of their systems. They don't have anything that's NHP level, apparently, so... Apparently, because they've been attacked by other robotic forces, they have a whole thing against it. They're really naturists when you think about it.
They're really what?
Naturists. It's a group of people based around Ralph Nader, who had a disliking for nuclear power in the 80s.
Okay. yet another reference I don't get. It's okay.
It comes up a lot in sci-fi stuff because people that like technology up to a certain point, like think about if you were living in the sci-fi future but you were Amish, you might still use like the flying cars and all that shit, but you would
The term for that would be Luddite.
yeah, there's also a group. I mean, I'm used to seeing them both, but in like opposing terminology. It's weird. Okay.
Yeah.
No, because Luddites prefer it even further back. The Naturists are somewhere in the middle. I'll find a definition sometime later.
Okay.
Anyway, I've said what I wanted to try and do. I don't know if that would either be power at a cost or get creative.
Let me have a look.
I would lean towards power at a cost because get creative is me building something, and this isn't really me building something. Get creative, I think, would be more if I was trying to build that communications thing.
Okay. Yeah, then. No. Okay. I really should learn that list by my
Page 84.
memorize that lit. Yeah. I'm looking at. I have it, but I'm thinking about which options to choose. Okay, it's getting Unival into the whole network. It's taking way more time than you anticipated because they have something. They have some defenses against offensive NHPs and viruses and the like. They probably didn't anticipate it happening like that, but they anticipated some need for defense. And it seems they have a IT philosophy of defense over offense. So, yeah, they have. And the third last option, what you put together, is going to fall apart damn soon. You realize that they have some code in there which regularly wipes everything and brings the software back to a clean state. So
Right, which I will just hack around. If they have software there to do that, I will create a computer partition which will then be exempt from the wipe, in which the eventual copy will then store itself and then branch out from there, probably taking control of the wipe program first.
yeah, you can try that with your next downtime action. In between, you have an unwiped.
So in short term, I just wasted an entire downtime learning what I'm doing.
No, in the meantime you have Universal inactive on the computers, but it took you some days, and you know it will be wiped, but it isn't wiped. So you can prevent the wiping with the next downtime action. So I wouldn't consider that wasted. Okay, or any more clarifications needed? Okay, silence.
What?
Sir.
Huh? Could you please repeat?
I said what?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Then I'll just take notes.
I think that just leaves Cobra then, right?
No, Cobra has spent his time training, right?
Oh,
Remember? Or is spending his time training. Okay, then after 4 days, the officers take you in a... Oh, different question. Lesser, where do you sleep in the city?